I just want to talk about the history of change. And change you're a part of today, and it's fantastic to see. And I think the politicians think that this is going to be a one-day wonder. Well, it's not going to be a one-day wonder for Mr. Mulder and the rest of the party. Usually we get this size gathering at a funeral, but we're gathering here today to celebrate. And we're gathering here today to really bury the political parties who have shut your railway line down and disenfranchised so many country towns and destroyed their economies. So we need to change that, and it's been fantastic working with the group that I have been working with, the committee, to get this here today, but we wouldn't be here today if you hadn't turned up.
This is an interesting story, this is an example of government at its worst. Now, prior to the last election, and I'm not going to be political here because I'm not going to be entirely charitable to any side of politics, and I hope you appreciate that. Before the last election, the minister, the current minister, the opposition spokesman, come up and said we're going to do a study on reconnecting Geelong, Ballarat, Maryborough, Castlemaine and Bendigo. $2 million study. And I think many of us in the audience were aware of that commitment by the minister, and he went ahead and did it, and it came out on the 6th of June this year, D-Day. We open it up and we find that the consultants who put it together were putting a price tag of nearly $1 billion. $1 billion. Now, we did all regional fast rail, that's Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo, Traralgon. We did the whole lot of that for $750. New lines, new trains, new signalling, the whole box and dice. But our little bit of rail line plus the existing stuff was going to cost more than all of regional fast rail. It was a joke. Now, there are people around who would say that was put there, it was set to fail, that it was put in there with that price tag on it so it would never see the light of day. Well, I'm not that sort of a person. I'm a mining engineer. I'm an engineer by profession. I can do numbers. And I sat down and did a set of numbers, and I think we can do it for about 1/10 of the price. 1/10 of the price. Less. The whole of this connecting Geelong to Bendigo, it could be done for less than one station in Melbourne. Now, you might find that amazing, but recently there were 2 stations put up. That was Williams Landing and Ringwood, and they were refurbs, they weren't new stations, and they both cost over $100 million each. So, and I've got nothing against the people of Williams Landing or Ringwood. I think they're probably entitled to a new station. But so long as they've got nothing against us for saying the 500,000 people living along this track are entitled to a regional rail service. My figures are available on our Facebook group. If you go to the Regional Rail Alliance on Facebook, you can download my report, and I'm very happy if anyone wants to contact me privately. They're not a computer user. I'd be delighted to get them a copy of it. Come and see me afterwards, and I would be very happy to give that report to anybody. Just in general terms, I'm not going to get into the very finer points of it, to replace to get the train going from Bendigo to Geelong is about a 4-stage process. The first stage was between Bendigo and Castlemaine. Now, I don't know whether you know that, but there's 17 trains a day run on that line at 160 kilometres an hour, and yet the PTC report wanted to spend $230 million just on that bit of line. So, yeah, and it's funny, it's my money and it's all your money too. It's not their money, you know, but anyway, that's a different argument. So when I came to do my report, I said, there's no point in duplicating trains between Bendigo and Castlemaine. They run about every 3/4 of an hour. more frequently at busier times. So let's just finish ours at Castlemaine. Platform 3, Castlemaine, or Platform 2 and 1, depending on the combinations. And there's $230 million off the price tag for a start. They then said it was going to cost about the same to fix the line between here and Castlemaine. Now, as you can see, it's not in awfully good nick. I don't think you've got to be a mining engineer or a railway engineer to look at the line and say there's a bit of work to be done here. But laying railway lines is not an expensive proposition. We've got earth moving equipment, it's steel and it's sleepers. And an example of what a similar line would cost in Tasmania recently, they did 70 kilometres of similar line, had to rip it all up, start afresh, put new sleepers in. In fact, they put concrete sleepers down, and they did it for $19.5 million. Now, I don't know whether Tasmanians are smarter than that. All the jokes say that they're not, but I won't get involved in that. A couple of stations to be cleaned up, Carisbrook, Newstead, probably Guildford, and okay, you've got to Maryborough. Maryborough doesn't need anything. Maryborough's in fine state and a lot of money's been spent on it. Probably Guildford, definitely Guildford. Very good, I'm pleased to hear that. I'm very pleased to see the Guildford people turn out and they've been very supportive of this. A little bit of work on the existing line between Maryborough and Ballarat. There's an urgent need for a crossing loop at Torello, and a little bit of mucking around, but very few dollars to be spent on that. And the final bit is between Ballarat and Geelong, which our train driver people, there's a few out there, tell me is one of the best bits of line in Victoria. So for a minimum, there's a couple of level crossings to be done, a new automated crossing loop, and a bit of a path set through the Geelong yards, which is apparently a bit easier than what it runs off the tongue. But in any case, we're not looking at telephone book numbers in this. That's all it requires. You could actually put passenger trains on between Geelong and Ballarat tomorrow. There'd be nothing to stop you. And it's really this little link in here that overall I said it was going to cost about $27 million. So that's the plan. How do we get it implemented? Well, look around you for a start. That's how it happens, people power. This rally today, we thought it was about railways, but it's about trust, actually. Trust in our political system. Trust that politicians are going to hear what the people want. Now, the policy, as I said, the rail revival policy is in fact government policy. Well, that's great. If you went to the election, you did the study, we've given you the keys so you can open up that door, go ahead and do it. In 12 months' time, there's going to be an election and there could be a new government. What's Labor's attitude? Now, Labor did some terrific things with public transport. The regional rail was probably the best thing done since they introduced the spirit trains in the late 1930s. But they also promised to put our line back to Mildura and a passenger train back to Mildura and to reopen the Leongatha line. And sadly, Labor fell over on those 2 points. So the political process is push the government to honour their promises and get Labor to come around to accept the fact that this is a major community initiative, to listen to us and to come in line with the fact that we need this policy.
Mr. Ryan, it can be done and you are going to do it. And we are determined that you and any other government is going to do it. Because the consequences for you not doing it are far much larger than you realise. Okay, thank you.